Self-doubt often lingers like a quiet whisper in the back of your mind, questioning whether you're truly ready, worthy, or capable of rising to moments that demand your full potential. It can steal your focus at critical times, making you second-guess choices that once felt clear or even exciting. Yet this same doubt can become the spark that drives you to prepare more carefully, to explore fresh ideas, and to strengthen your determination. Instead of treating self-doubt as an enemy to defeat, you can recognize it as a reminder to focus on growth, not perfection. Every time you face hesitation head-on, you sharpen the resilience and skills that form the foundation of unshakable confidence. You learn not to wait for doubts to disappear, but to keep moving forward alongside them, reframing uncertainty as proof that you're stretching beyond comfort and stepping into the space where true progress happens. In this way, self-doubt transforms from a crippling question mark into a catalyst for change, fueling an ever-deepening sense of personal power. Real strength doesn't come from the absence of fear, but from the courage to act in spite of it. The first step is recognition. Many assume that confident people live without insecurity, but in truth, nearly everyone feels doubt. The difference lies in interpretation. Some see uncertainty as a verdict on their potential, while others use it as a push toward growth. If you treat doubt as a signal, maybe to study a little more, to practice longer, or to seek guidance from someone who's walked the same path, you transform nagging questions into constructive action. With each step, your sense of control grows, because you see yourself shaping outcomes through effort, rather than surrendering to the idea of not being enough. Self-awareness plays a vital role in this shift. Doubts often stem from old stories, past failures, unfair comparisons, or a single harsh remark that left a scar. When you ask, where does this doubt really come from? You may uncover its roots. Perhaps you avoid speaking up because of one negative comment years ago, or you second-guess your creativity because someone once dismissed your ideas. Recognizing that what feels like a universal truth, I can't handle this, is really just a reaction to one moment in the past gives you the freedom to rewrite the story. Self-doubt also thrives on worst-case thinking and focusing only on shortcomings. By reframing these thoughts, you change the narrative. I may not know how to do this yet, but I can learn. Or I feel nervous, but that doesn't make me incapable. This doesn't mean ignoring challenges. It means refusing to let fear dictate your entire future. Each time you practice reframing, doubt loses its grip. Even if it never fully disappears, it now shares space with a stronger, more empowering voice. Small steps can make this real. If you often feel inadequate in group settings, set a modest goal. Contribute one clear, concise point. Whether it lands perfectly or not, you've proven you can act despite the uncertainty. These small, repeatable wins stack up, slowly dismantling the illusion that doubt is unbeatable. Over time, you notice patterns of resilience forming. You begin to trust your adaptability, that even when unprepared, you can adjust, refocus, and try again. That trust in your own adaptability is the cornerstone of true confidence. Because confidence doesn't come from being flawless, it comes from knowing that, no matter what happens, you can face it, grow through it, and keep moving forward. Confidence isn't about being perfect, it's about your ability to operate in the midst of imperfection. Even your body language can shape your mental state. Standing tall, breathing steadily, and holding deliberate eye contact send a signal to your brain. You're capable, not threatened. While these actions may seem like simple tricks, they ground you when doubt pulls strongest. They remind you that you have tools to handle discomfort, creating a feedback loop where posture fuels mental strength and mental strength supports calm, deliberate action. Much of self-doubt comes from too narrow a definition of success. If you only count flawless outcomes, you set an impossible standard. Broadening that definition, acknowledging partial victories, incremental progress, and lessons hidden in setbacks, relieves the crushing pressure that feeds doubt. You can say, I didn't achieve everything I wanted, but I grew in these important areas. This shift highlights learning and momentum rather than judging your worth based on a single result. It creates space to experiment, adjust, and evolve without labeling every adjustment a failure. A strong support system further dismantles self-limiting beliefs. Mentors, peers, and friends who see your potential hold up a mirror to strengths you may overlook. Constructive feedback shows that many doubts are distortions, not facts. Hearing their struggles normalizes your own, reminding you that uncertainty is universal, not a personal flaw. Together you build a network that elevates confidence through advice, encouragement, and honest exchange of experiences. Of course, some doubts stem from real gaps in knowledge or skill. In those cases, ignoring them doesn't build confidence, addressing them does. If managing projects feels overwhelming, study proven methods or shadow someone with expertise. By actively closing the gap, doubt shifts from being an emotional drain into a practical challenge you can solve. Every skill you sharpen becomes proof that your abilities are not fixed, but adaptable. You learn to trust yourself, not because you know everything, but because you're willing to learn what you don't. Reflection strengthens this process. It can be formal, like journaling each day about moments of doubt and how you responded, or informal, such as pausing after a meeting to ask, what went well? Where did doubt creep in? Over time, patterns emerge. Maybe you're more self-critical when you're tired, or when facing tasks involving numbers, or when presenting to unfamiliar audiences. With that knowledge, you can prepare wisely. Another shift comes from changing how you measure progress. Instead of comparing your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20, focus on your own trajectory. Comparison often magnifies doubt, especially when you only see others' polished exteriors. By tracking your growth against your own past self, you emphasize improvement, not unrealistic benchmarks. This honors the truth that mastery takes time. It prevents you from dismissing your progress simply because you haven't reached someone else's milestone yet. Seen this way, doubt becomes less of an enemy and more of a guide. If you repeatedly feel insecure about a specific skill, that's a signal to invest more effort in it. Doubt can highlight blind spots or outdated habits, pointing you toward areas ready for growth. Meeting it halfway, listening to what it reveals and responding with action, transforms it into direction, not defeat. It's also important to understand that the road to unshakable confidence isn't free of setbacks. Old triggers may resurface, anxiety may return at unexpected times. The difference is that you now have tools. Where once you might have withdrawn, now you pause, breathe, reflect on your progress, and craft a strategy to move forward. That's the essence of turning doubt into power. It may still appear, but it no longer dictates outcomes. Instead, it sparks creativity, determination, and greater self-awareness. At times, confidence even requires walking through failure. You will attempt things and fall short. The question is how you interpret it. Is failure proof of your limits, or is it data for growth? Choosing the latter means every stumble becomes a stepping stone. You may discover a missing detail, a gap in preparation, or a mindset that needs adjusting. Converting failure into refinement is the hallmark of resilient confidence. Each time you bounce back, doubt loses more ground, replaced by proof of your adaptability. Emotional resilience is inseparable from harnessing doubt. If every wave of uncertainty drags you into harsh self-criticism, your energy drains before you can channel it into growth. Developing ways to self-soothe, through calming routines, healthy outlets, or honest conversations, keeps you from spiraling. Even writing down your worries can release their grip. Once they're on paper, they often appear far smaller than in your head. Balancing self-compassion with accountability is key. Compassion allows you to accept mistakes and lapses as part of being human. Accountability ensures you don't use compassion as an excuse to stagnate. Together, they create a mindset where you're neither complacent nor cruel to yourself. You give yourself permission to progress realistically while still holding the vision of higher goals. A personal mantra can also serve as an anchor when doubts roar the loudest. Simple phrases like, I act with courage despite uncertainty, or I learn and adapt with every step remind you of the bigger picture. Repeating them consistently conditions your mind to reset under pressure. Over time, this anchor becomes instinctive, a switch that steers you from panic back to purpose. Finally, extending compassion outwards strengthens your own confidence. By recognizing that others wrestle with doubt too, you not only support them, but reinforce the truth that uncertainty is part of the human journey. And in lifting each other, you discover that confidence grows most powerfully when it's shared. When you empathize with another person's struggles, you're reminded that everyone faces fears and uncertainties. This perspective reduces the sense that you're uniquely burdened or somehow less capable. Struggle is part of being human, not a flaw in your character. Cultivating kindness toward others naturally translates into kindness toward yourself. As you extend understanding and compassion outward, you internalize the same patience and generosity, recognizing that growth involves setbacks and that vulnerability doesn't negate strength. Seeing fear as an ally is another powerful mindset. Nervousness, a racing heartbeat, or a restless mind often accompany meaningful endeavors. Rather than interpreting these signals as proof of impending failure, view them as energy your body provides to help you perform at a high level. That same adrenaline can sharpen focus if you direct it intentionally. In this light, jitters or trembling hands become reminders that you are alive, alert, and about to do something important. You might even reframe the feeling as excitement rather than fear. Regularly exposing yourself to uncertainty in manageable doses is a systematic way to build resilience. If public speaking challenges you, begin with a small audience of friends and gradually expand your scope. Each exposure gradually deactivates the panic response, teaching your mind and body that stepping into challenging situations doesn't mean disaster. Over time, even settings that once triggered intense self-doubt feel familiar, though a trace of nerves may remain. This principle applies across life: negotiations, social events, creative expression, any context where doubt arises. Each successful encounter provides evidence that you can operate under pressure and emerge intact, if not stronger. Confidence doesn't require constant positivity. It's entirely normal to feel doubt while believing in your ability to push forward. True courage is acknowledging fear while moving ahead regardless. By treating self-doubt as one voice among many, rather than the final verdict on your future, you free yourself to engage with life from a place of possibility instead of limiting caution. In this evolving relationship with uncertainty, you learn to act effectively despite feeling unsure. Confidence becomes less about eliminating anxious thoughts and more about trusting your capacity to navigate them. You reduce the friction of doubt and channel that energy toward growth. This dynamic approach fosters balance. You're neither paralyzed by perfectionism nor recklessly impulsive. You become nimble, realistic, and open, reinforcing self-belief without needing to eradicate hesitation entirely. Maintaining momentum involves regular self-checks, perhaps weekly, reviewing moments of doubt, how you responded, and the outcomes. Celebrate wins and note gaps to address. These reflections are about refinement, not perfection. Each session reinforces that you're steering your personal growth rather than drifting with external events. When confidence surges, take note. Identify contributing factors: extra practice, constructive feedback, or bravely tackling a new challenge. These insights create a roadmap for replicating success. As your self-doubt transforms, your influence grows. By modeling perseverance in the face of fear, you inspire those around you to approach their own uncertainties with courage. In this way, your inner transformation radiates outward. Shaping group dynamics, team projects, and personal relationships begins with the way you respond to challenges. People notice how you handle setbacks, stay open to feedback, and shift your perspective from potential disaster to potential discovery. This approach can create a ripple effect, fostering a culture where it's acceptable to admit doubts, but never to be ruled by them. Together, you and those around you lift each other, forging an environment that celebrates growth and effort over rigid ideals of perfection. Balancing ambition with patience is essential to avoid burnout. Self-doubt may shrink as you face tough challenges, but relentless pressure without rest can fray your nerves and rebuild uncertainty. There's wisdom in pacing yourself, recognizing that stepping back to recharge is not weakness, it's strategic self-care. By scheduling downtime for gentler pursuits, you give your mind space to recover, your creativity room to flourish, and your emotional reserves time to replenish. This cycle of challenge, exertion, and rest allows you to advance consistently over the long run, building confidence through sustainable growth rather than all-or-nothing pushes. Empathy for others' journeys strengthens lasting self-assurance. When you witness someone wrestling with doubt, offering support or guidance not only helps them, it reinforces your own belief in the power of encouragement. Each conversation or act of kindness becomes a two-way exchange of confidence, reminding you that the hope you extend to others can also be applied to your own struggles. Reconnecting with your core values anchors motivation when doubt surfaces unexpectedly, articulating why a goal matters. Whether it aligns with your passion for learning or desire to contribute meaningfully, reaffirms that your efforts carry personal significance. Even if results are imperfect, the pursuit itself embodies a kind of victory that transcends any single success or failure. Adjusting your self-talk is an ongoing process. Negative thinking or harsh internal critiques won't disappear overnight, but with consistent effort you can soften their grip. Catch phrases like "I'm just not cut out for this" and replace them with "I might struggle, but I will adapt." At first it may feel forced, but over time your mind learns that doubt and determination can coexist, and often determination wins. The key lies in taking intentional action despite hesitation, not waiting for a doubt-free moment. Confidence grows precisely by moving forward in the presence of fear. Bravery is validated by willingness to act, not absence of worry. Through repeated experiences, you witness yourself solving problems, navigating awkward moments, and surmounting obstacles once deemed insurmountable. Unbreakable confidence isn't rigid bravado, it's a flexible inner strength that rebounds even when tested. Old insecurities may resurface and feedback may sting, but these episodes no longer define your trajectory. They become temporary challenges, met with the knowledge that you've overcome doubt before and can do so again. Bit by bit, memories of past victories illuminate the path forward, making each new test less paralyzing. Celebrating milestones is crucial. When you accomplish something that once felt impossible, pause to honor that shift. Jot down how you felt before and after, or share the achievement with someone you trust. These moments of recognition help your mind internalize the experience. Doubt was present, yet action led to success or valuable insight. Each memory becomes a lighthouse, guiding you through future uncertainty. Trusting the process replaces the need for immediate proof of brilliance. Mastery often requires repeated exposure, adjustments, and resilience. Doubt may persist, but confidence grows alongside it, fueled by perseverance. You begin to identify with the process rather than any single outcome. Failure or success becomes data, not a judgment of worth. Over time, your relationship with risk shifts. Bold steps feel less like gambles and more like investments in growth. Lessons gained from effort outweigh fear of stumbling. Growth is measured not only in outcomes, but in your ability to evolve through preparation, execution, and reflection. Unbreakable confidence naturally emerges from this dedication to learning. Nothing is wasted, not even missteps, which become fertile ground for future success. In this world of perpetual self-improvement, fear and excitement blur. The racing pulse before a challenge signals growth, not retreat. Adrenaline fuels performance, becoming part of the thrill of stretching yourself. Fully living includes embracing these intense emotions with curiosity rather than dread. Each cycle of uncertain certainty, action and reflection refines a self-image in which courage and doubt coexist peacefully, generating a lasting sense of self-belief. Looking back, past doubts appear smaller, not because they were illusions, but because you've grown big enough to hold them without being overwhelmed. True confidence isn't living without doubt, it's outgrowing the limitations doubt tries to impose. Every new horizon presents challenges, and you approach them with expanded abilities and deeper trust in your capacity to adapt. Doubt may echo faintly, but it no longer halts your progress. Every day you reinforce the idea that confidence is a practice, not a fixed state. It thrives on mindful self-talk, deliberate action, reflection, and the choice to aim higher despite discomfort. Honoring this practice accumulates resilience, creativity, and unwavering resolve. Self-doubt becomes the fuel that ignites transformation, guiding you toward achievements and personal breakthroughs that once seemed distant. Ultimately, you embody a confidence anchored not in certainty, but in your ability to navigate doubt with courage, persistence, and self-belief. Fleeting bravado fades in the presence of a deeper understanding. You are infinitely capable of growth, adaptation, and triumph. When doubt is reframed as an ally, you stand on firmer ground even when the terrain is uncertain. You've shed the notion that every question in your mind signals weakness. Instead, it signals a new frontier to explore, a frontier both humbling and exhilarating. Humbling because there is always more to learn, exhilarating because each new lesson brings you closer to your fullest potential. In this light, self-doubt transforms from an inner saboteur to a traveling companion, pointing out where the road might be hazardous, giving you the chance to navigate carefully and emerge stronger. Momentum builds as you witness these mental shifts, translating into tangible outcomes, better performance at work, greater ease in social interactions, or a deeper sense of self-worth in your personal life. Confidence, once a distant goal, settles in as a daily practice, something you cultivate rather than a sudden revelation that eradicates fear. You learn to embrace the ebb and flow of emotions, harnessing the highs to fuel bold endeavors, softening the lows with patience and compassion. By aligning consistent small actions with your deeper values, that stable sense of self grows, overshadowing the old reflexive doubts that once governed your behavior. Others may begin to call you confident, perhaps even seeking your guidance on overcoming their own uncertainties. But what they recognize as confidence, is the fruit of countless decisions. A refusal to let fear define you, a commitment to continuous learning, and the courage to pursue meaningful goals despite lingering hesitation. This stance isn't about being fearless, it's about showing up fully, fear or not, trusting that each encounter with doubt strengthens you. Over time, these repeated acts weave a narrative of personal power, one you continue to write with every step forward. Confidence is not a lucky trait. It is a cultivated skill born from action, reflection, and the acceptance that doubt plays a vital role in pushing boundaries. Without it, many of the world's greatest achievements might never occur, because uncertainty sparks investigation, deeper practice, and sometimes the courage to leap. The magic happens when you embrace the leap, harnessing doubt's energy to soar rather than letting it keep you grounded. Self-doubt becomes a potent force for growth, illuminating areas of your journey that demand attention. It offers you a choice: remain hesitant or proceed with faith in your ability to adapt. Repeatedly choosing the latter ingrains robust confidence, proving that your strength endures beyond fear. Transformation isn't instantaneous. Old habits cling and setbacks sting. Yet each hurdle you overcome writes a new chapter in your story, a chapter where fear is not dismissed but collaborated with, turning potential obstacles into stepping stones. Unbreakable confidence is never a final destination. It is an evolving relationship with uncertainty. Methods adapt, mentors change, motivations deepen, yet the core principle remains: keep moving, keep learning, and welcome the insights your doubts reveal without letting them confine you. At every stage, you discover new facets of your capability, forging a trust in yourself no fleeting setback can dismantle. Doubt becomes a companion rather than a tyrant, guiding without controlling. Confidence is not constant euphoria. It is the steady conviction that you can meet life's demands, adjust when necessary, and retain your sense of self through both triumphs and failures. This conviction frees you to aim high and step boldly, knowing that even if you stumble, the journey continues. You become the architect of your own development, crafting experiences that expand your comfort zone and deepen your belief in what is possible. Confidence built on doubt is resilient, far stronger than confidence never tested. While you are not immune to miscalculations or challenges, neither are you bound by them. Every setback contains a seed of insight, ready to be cultivated. This cyclical dance of challenge and renewal cements the understanding that fear may visit, but it does not dictate your ability to prevail. Turning self-doubt into power is a story of redefinition. Uncertainty no longer stops you. It motivates you to prepare, refine, and seek knowledge. From this redefinition emerges confidence, a quiet, steady readiness to face both success and setback with grace and persistence. Day by day, you welcome challenges as necessary steps on the path to deeper mastery. Each hesitation becomes a beacon pointing to untapped capabilities. Confidence unfolds not as a flashy persona, but as an authentic expression of your evolving self, anchored in deeds rather than declarations. Your relationship with doubt becomes a friendly rivalry. You expect it, acknowledge it, and use it as impetus to level up. Your inner conversation evolves. If I'm doubting myself, it means I'm forging new territory. Let me investigate what worries me and make a plan. That plan might involve gathering resources, practicing a technique, or seeking guidance from a mentor. Each practical step becomes an act of empowerment, signaling to doubt that while you respect its input, you will guide the next steps. Over time, looking back at how you once froze or disqualified yourself, you realize you've moved beyond those habits, not by erasing doubt, but by walking alongside it, reshaping every moment of hesitation into an act of courage. In doing so, you reveal a confidence that is honest, resilient, and boundless. Alchemizing doubt into forward motion, growth may feel slow in the moment, but in retrospect, it is remarkable. Each trial that once loomed impossibly large now appears as a pivotal lesson that shaped your character and expanded your skill set. You realize that your mind, once quick to highlight reasons for hesitation, can be trained to see reasons to persist. The journey completes a cycle. Fear that once implied paralysis now fuels preparation, leading to action that forges genuine confidence. By cycling through this process repeatedly, you accumulate a record of triumph over self-doubt. Each new doubt simply triggers a familiar response. Look for solutions, seek support, or acquire the knowledge and tools needed to advance. Over time, the anxiety that once dominated your attention becomes a passing thought. You move forward, guided by the understanding that even imperfect results inform your ongoing evolution. Confidence thus reveals itself as an act of construction, piece by piece, not an innate gift. You see it in small gestures. The day you spoke up in a meeting, the time you refused to let an early setback define your project, the moment you reached out for help instead of suffering in silence. Each decision becomes a tile in a mosaic, representing a choice to engage with life rather than shrink back. Every tile has value, whether it looks like a success or a misstep, because each contributes to the grand design of personal empowerment. Eventually, you notice that much of the external pressure that once felt overwhelming was amplified by your internal dialogues. As you gain mastery over those dialogues, the external world feels less intimidating. Opportunities you once dismissed as unattainable begin to appear within reach, not because the world has changed, but because you have. You interpret challenges through a new lens, one that reframes risk as a chance to deepen skill and broaden perspective. This subtle yet profound shift allows you to meet life with a steady internal compass. As your certainty in your adaptive capabilities solidifies, goals or visions that once felt impossibly distant begin to feel attainable. The distance narrows as you focus on each workable step, each bit of knowledge or training that brings you closer. Doubt may still whisper, but you respond with pragmatic plans, small experiments, or the memory of past wins. Over days and weeks, these incremental actions accumulate, sometimes surprising even you when you pause to reflect on how far you've progressed. At times, others may question your journey or doubt your abilities. In those moments, the confidence you've cultivated reminds you not to internalize their skepticism automatically. You weigh their words thoughtfully. Maybe they have a point, or maybe they are projecting their own fears. Either way, you discern which feedback is constructive and which is noise. That discernment becomes part of your self-defensive skill set, ensuring external negativity doesn't reignite old uncertainties. In fact, these moments become further opportunities to test and affirm your inner resolve. One of the crowning outcomes of transforming self-doubt into power is that you stop treating uncertainty as a stoplight. Instead, it becomes a signpost, indicating where growth is possible. The more this reframing becomes second nature, the greater your freedom in crafting your life. Where you once saw reasons to hold back, you now see invitations to expand. This transformation isn't recklessness. You still weigh risks, but you approach them with balanced caution and curiosity. You measure potential gains against possible losses, often discovering that growth opportunities outweigh the dangers once magnified in your mind. Self-doubt loses its power when welcomed as part of the process, each question deepening preparation, expanding skills, and building self-trust. Rather than fighting it, you channel it, forging resilience through repeated acts of courage. You shape a life where challenges are met with readiness and curiosity, and setbacks serve as lessons that refine your approach. Doubt becomes an ally in your pursuit of mastery, highlighting areas for growth, while your confidence strengthens through every tested hypothesis, every adapted strategy, and every moment you press forward despite uncertainty. In this way, you stand in true, unbreakable confidence, not because you conquered fear, but because you learned to transform it into the spark that illuminates your boldest, most authentic path forward. As you continue to navigate life, you realize that mastery over doubt is not a destination, but an endless journey, a path that unfolds with every choice, every step, every challenge embraced rather than avoided. Each day offers new terrain, unfamiliar decisions, relationships to nurture, projects to undertake, lessons to glean. And in this unfolding, you begin to see a pattern emerge. The more you engage with uncertainty, the more your inner compass strengthens, guiding you with clarity through even the most complex or intimidating circumstances. You notice that the mind, once prone to hesitation, now actively scans for opportunities to stretch, to grow, to refine. A question that might have once triggered anxiety now signals exploration. A setback is no longer an endpoint, but a pivot point. With each experience, you build a resilient architecture within yourself, layer upon layer of practical wisdom, emotional stamina, and adaptive creativity. These layers do not shield you from fear. They allow you to move through fear, to act with deliberate courage, and to emerge stronger, wiser, and more capable each time. The rhythm of life itself begins to feel different. You respond rather than react. You measure rather than rush. You balance reflection with action. And in this balance, you cultivate an internal landscape that is not only fertile for personal growth, but also contagious in its influence. Those around you sense your steadiness, your intentionality, your capacity to move forward even when outcomes are uncertain. By embodying this approach, you create an environment where courage, curiosity, and resilience are valued above perfection, where effort is celebrated more than immediate success, and where self-doubt is acknowledged but never permitted to dictate the terms of your life. Over time, you become acutely aware that every choice, every deliberate act, contributes to an ever-expanding tapestry of personal power. It's in the moments when you face discomfort and choose to act anyway. It's in the tiny decisions, repeated day after day, that build the foundation of unshakable confidence. And as you reflect on your journey, you see that even missteps, the experiences that once felt like failure, are now recognized as critical milestones. Each one has carved a channel through which resilience flows, through which creativity emerges, through which self-belief is deepened. You come to understand that true mastery is not the absence of doubt or fear. It is the ability to coexist with them, to harness their energy, and to transform them into tools of insight, action, and growth. This mastery is patient, persistent, and expansive, a force that grows quietly yet inexorably over time. It teaches you that the pursuit of excellence is not a sprint but a marathon, where consistent, intentional steps accumulate into monumental progress. Each day becomes an opportunity to reaffirm your commitment to growth, to embrace uncertainty as a teacher, and to wield every challenge as a stepping stone toward the fullest expression of your potential. And as you walk this path, you discover a profound truth. The journey itself is the reward. The accumulation of lessons, the layering of experiences, the gradual strengthening of inner resolve, these are the markers of a life fully engaged, a life in which confidence is earned, refined, and sustained. In this realization, you feel a sense of empowerment that is both liberating and humbling. Liberating because you understand that your trajectory is largely shaped by your choices, not by circumstances. Humbling because you recognize that growth is an ongoing process, never complete, always offering new vistas to explore. So continue forward, with curiosity as your compass and courage as your engine. Continue to meet doubt with inquiry, fear with preparation, and setbacks with persistence. Allow each day to contribute to your evolving mosaic of skill, wisdom, and self-trust. Let each experience, whether smooth or turbulent, reinforce the narrative that you are capable of extraordinary growth, adaptation, and triumph. And in embracing this ongoing journey, remember that the path is not one to walk alone. Seek knowledge, share insights, support others, and remain open to learning at every turn. By doing so, you magnify not only your own progress, but the potential of those around you, creating a network of courage, resilience, and shared growth that extends far beyond your individual journey. If you felt even a spark of inspiration from this reflection, if the idea that confidence can be cultivated through intentional action and the embrace of doubt resonates with you, then continue this journey with us. Subscribe to the channel, stay engaged, and immerse yourself in the ideas, strategies, and stories that will help you transform uncertainty into your greatest ally. Every new video, every shared insight is another step toward the life you are capable of creating. A life where doubt informs but never restrains, and where your fullest potential is not a distant dream but a lived reality. Keep moving, keep learning, and keep transforming doubt into the force that powers your most authentic, courageous, and unshakable self.